Hi guys, welcome back to Cheney's TCG store. I have another market watch for you today. I did start this off as a small market watch, but as I was going through, I just kept adding card after card after card. So it's more of like a medium length market watch, not too long. But let's go ahead and get started here. The first card I wanted to go over, or not really card, but archetype, is Mech Knights. This is a deck that is a very good rogue contender, and it has been for some time. I haven't been seeing a lot less of it recently, and I think that's kind of reflected in the price points for some of these cards. But I used to play Invoked Mekk-knight like a couple of years ago, and it was just such a fun deck, and just did really well. But I really haven't seen anybody playing it in a while. I do know a lot of people that really love like Orcust and Mech-knights, but I think it's a great archetype. But the first card here is the Secret Rare Gersu, Orcust Mekk-knight, around $14. I don't think that's too bad, to be honest, for this card, especially being out of Eternity Code. This card looks really good. But if you wanted this card, I think this version is fine, and this price isn't bad. But there also is an ultra rare that's worth a couple dollars from the Mega Tins if you wanted to just get a budget version. Mekk-knight Crusadia Avramax. It's around $12 to $13 depending on limited versus first edition. Do I think it's worth it? I mean, I don't know that I would really invest in this card. I think that it's a great card, but it's just been power prepped quite a bit. There's a lot better level 4 monsters or link 4 monsters to play than this card. But I do think it looks really good, and I do have a first edition copy myself. But I did pay $30 for it, so I get kind of at the point where I'm not going to get rid of it for a third of the price that I paid for it. But it is a pretty cool card. It's just not the easiest to make because it does have to be made with all link monster materials. But that's not too big of a deal. You can just make 2 link 2s. And it is pretty hard to get over because it's I can read the effect to you, but it's mainly just there's no negates built in or anything like that, or removal other than just attacking over things. But basically what this card does is your opponent can't target this card with card effects. Also, their monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one, which is nice because you can kind of protect your other monsters on the field because you can't really battle over this card. But it says once per battle during the damage calculation, if this battles a special summon monster, quick effect, you can make this card gain attack equal to that opponent's monster attack during that damage calculation only. If this link summon card you control is into the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. That last effect's pretty cool, but it doesn't really come up too often. This kind of is just a towers that's really hard to get over. But like I said, if you're going first, or even second, there's just better cards to go into. I don't think that it's a bad card necessarily. I just think there's better cards to play. Not that you couldn't get some wins using this card, but it's just not the greatest. Mekk-knight Purple Nightfall from Extreme Force. This card has traditionally been around $15 to $18 for the first edition. It's down quite a bit in price. So unlimited here is $7, and then near mint is also $7. I think that's a pretty good price to get them at. I wouldn't go crazy if you're going to get them, but I think having like a play set's probably not a bad idea. I think I have the mega pack versions and the original versions, or I think I maybe sold some of the original versions on a buyout. I can't remember. They're sitting in one of my binders. But I love this card. The artwork's really cool. Extreme Force is getting a little bit older, and Purple Nightfall is just insane. So the ultra rares have been going up in price though. For the Avramax, it is now $8, which is pretty crazy. I think I gave one of these away on one of my giveaways that I did. I think it was like $5 at the time. So this card is moving up. I just don't understand why you would spend $8 on this and not just cough up, $5 more and get the original secret rare. It's not really a good move there, but if you were going to buy one of these, get the secret rare. Mega pack secret rare and Purple Nightfall, $5. Again, not a bad price, but at this point I would just get the originals. The mega pack blue skies are $3, which this card in the past has been around $5 to $8 for both versions here. The original print, $4 here for light play first edition. That's really good. And then the Morningstar is around $1.60 to $2.50 if you want the first edition. I do have one of these. They look good as well. There are some cheap reprints of this. I think there's like a maximum gold rare reprint of this. And then other than that, everything else in this deck is like extremely cheap. But I think this is a great archetype to have. Like, same with like an Invoked. Like I think you should have both of these. But if you wanted to play a cheap rogue deck, Invoked Mekk-knight is pretty good. The Indigo Eclipse super rares are just $1.20 here. Spectrum Supreme, I mean, you can play this, but it's not very good. It's 50 cents. Kind of depends on if you're playing pure Mech Knights or if you're playing Mekk-knight Orchestra or Invoke Mekk-knight. That kind of would change your extra deck up quite a bit. I didn't even know Abram came in super rare, but you don't really need this card. But yeah, that's all for Mech Knights. Just something to keep your eye on. I know probably a lot of people have forgot about this archetype. Next is the original print Saruja Skuldred Extreme Force. Kind of along the same lines as Avramax. This is just not the best Link 4 to play anymore. But I do think if we, have like Dragon Link or something like that come back where it's kind of a spammy Link deck, this card is pretty good because when you link some of this card with 4 materials, you can draw 4 cards and then place 3 from your hand back on the bottom of the deck, which is really, really powerful for cycling through your deck and getting to your power plays. But other than that, the other effects aren't super special. I mean, like if you use 2+, it's not really that good. And then the special summon from the hand is just okay. It's not really that good. But these are pretty cheap for first edition. They're like $8, which is up from where I saw them at like a year ago. I think they were more towards like 4 or 5 here. So it is moving up. I do expect this to kind of go up over time. It's just getting older now, and it could come back into the format at some point. I don't think it's, ever going to be busted, but it is a pretty damn good card. So I would just keep your eye on this card. It does have, I think, a Mega Pack secret rare as well. I can't remember. I'm going to look real quick. Okay, yeah, so 2018 Mega 10s. These are like $2.30. Again, I would just go with the first edition, but, it's not a bad version to have. Moving on, I wanted to cover Dark Arm Dragon, just because I haven't looked at this card in a long time, and I kind of wanted to see where the price points are. And it's still seeing play in older formats. I don't think it'll ever see play in any modern formats, but just a great collector's card and a staple card for some old formats, like Teledad. So the ultimate rare for light play is 400. Near mint is around 500-ish, which is not bad for this card, especially being a turbo pack ultimate rare. I think in the past, if we look at the price, it has been much higher. At least I thought it was. So this only goes back a year and it's been around the same price. Near mint actually 408. So that's not bad at all, really, especially because after these two are sold, it's then 420. I don't think this is going to sell quickly. Like, as you can see here, as far as like sales, like there's pretty much a month gap in between each sale. So I don't think that this is going to get bought out anytime soon. I do think that these will slowly disappear over the next decade. But that also kind of depends on, will there still be collectors in this game, or will there be new collectors? Because, at a certain point, the old collectors are going to just have what they want and won't be buying this stuff anymore. So unless, new collectors are coming around, it's going to be hard to see, steady buyouts over, I'm talking long periods of time, like over the next 20, 30 years. But I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I'm relatively a new collector, and I would love to have this card. So, I mean, it is possible. But moving back, we'll look at the other versions. So the original secret rare is around 55 here for lightly played unlimited. Not too bad. The near mint unlimited is 93, and then the first edition is going to be around 100 or 180 maybe. I can't remember. I looked at this yesterday, but I can't remember if it was like in the 200s. Okay, that's a lightly played at 200 for a German copy. There's only one copy left for American, and it's 260 for light play. So there's not even a near mint, which is, pretty interesting. There might be more copies for unverified, but I don't really like using unverified as I guess a price point, just because they don't really have like too much references at this point, like feedback. Not that there's anything wrong with, newer sellers. Everybody has to start out as a new seller. But and I don't really mind buying from new sellers if I'm buying something that's under $10. But you know, rolling the dice on something that's, you know, multiple hundreds of dollars and it's really old as well, I would just trust somebody that's got the gold star. Gold series around $10. Not a bad version, but I think if you weren't going to get one of these top rarity versions, I think the next best version, in my opinion, is the Legendary Collection Kaiba Dark Arm Dragon, which is around $3, which is really cheap for this card. I think it honestly should be more towards the $8 to $10, $12 range. So I think if you wanted to get a few copies of this, not really a bad version to have, especially if you wanted to play like a nice looking Teledad deck and you know, not break your bank. Other than that, there's not really too many other copies here. The Dual Saga Ultra Rare is fine. I mean, it's not gonna, I don't think it'll ever do anything crazy in price. I mean, it could, I guess, but not, I just really don't think so. The Super Rare, I mean, also just fine. It's just, these are just budget versions. We do have the new Ghost Rare, which is pretty nice. So that's also another high rarity option that you could go for. Just keep in mind that there's some quality issues with the Ghost Rares from Ghosts from the Past 2. So just, yeah, keep that in mind. Next, I wanted to kind of look over some of the Dark World cards because we got a structure deck announced in the OCG. So some of these have been flying off the shelves, getting bought up. And if you look here, Dark World Lightning around, this says 55, but I think it's more towards 100. Dark World Dealings, I'm pretty sure these are way more than 45, and that says lowest listing 45. That's damaged. So you have a mod play at 60, mod play first at 100, light play unlimited at 130, light play first edition at 130. That's not terrible, because then it goes to 165 for near mint unlimited. And then first edition's at 205 and then 250. I honestly probably wouldn't go for this at this price. I just don't think it's worth it really. If you're a really big fan of the deck, light play first edition for 130 is really not terrible, but I would be wanting to spend like $40 max on this card just because I don't really care about this card that much. And I know that's gonna be different for other people, but that's just my personal opinion. It's not like that cool of a card. Lord of Dark World here, market price at 60, 16 listings left. Silva, market price 58, but only 7 listings left. I'm sure that's probably higher than 60 at that. I don't want to click into every single one because that's going to take forever. I don't want to waste you guys' time. But I just kind of wanted to look to see where things are going here. I think maybe the best way to do this is just, let's do like this. We'll go like this, and then we'll filter for just light play and light play and near mint. For whatever reason, I have to like, whenever I click into the filter, it doesn't let me scroll down to the lightly played and near mint. So I have to like double click something first before it recognizes that I'm trying to scroll, which is highly annoying, but it's always been that way. If you're considering getting a Mac, I probably would say no, it's a terrible investment. These computers are terrible. 73 for Dark World Lightning for lightly played. You got one here for 50. Looks like it's an English version. We already went over that. God is gold. Actually, not God. Gold is 60 for light play, going up to 105 for near mint first edition. Silva starting at 50 light play. That's just so expensive for what you're getting. I mean, I guess it is Dark Revelation 4. There are going to be some random cards thrown in here, but it's just because I wanted to try to encompass as many Dark World cards as I could for this list. But some other cards are getting pulled in based on their name. Brow, Huntsman of the Dark World, 55 for unlimited, going up to 60. That's pretty high too, honestly. Yeah, I mean, at this point, the ultra rare Dark Revelation golds are 23. At this point, if you like haven't bought these cards already, I would just wait for the structure deck because most of these cards will get reprinted. Yeah, it's nice to have high rarity versions, but I don't think the deck will be that good. I think if they do a really good job with the structure deck, it could be like a rogue fun deck or like I like a kind of a FTK deck, but I just don't see it being like a meta changer. And I don't think it's worth these price points. I mean, you're paying much more for this deck right now, high rarity, than you are for a tier 1 deck or even tier 0 deck. Probably this is probably more expensive than Splight will be. Let's see what else. Rain, 6 starting off at 60, going to 60 for Nearman Unlimited. Grapha, Duelist League, $25. That's crazy. Duelist League promos are just insane. Unless they're like $1 or $2, I just would stay away from them because most people don't know about them and they kind of most of the time don't show up like in your search for a card. It's just they don't really sell. So like they were bought out a long time ago and there just never really was a lot of these around and they just don't really sell. Silva, 20 for unlimited, going up to 35. I mean, if you wanted to pick up this one copy here, that's not terrible. But I mean, keep in mind the market price is $15, so this is kind of on a buyout here. Snow is completely bought out for the secret rare. It's $50. No, I would sell these if you have them. It's definitely not worth it. Lucent, super rare from Primal Origin, you know, $13 here for lightly paid first edition. That's just really expensive. I guess there is one here for 10, but I don't know what the ratios are for this deck, to be honest with you. I've never played this deck. So I don't even know which one of these are played and which ones aren't. Brow is $13.50. Latinum, $5 here. I'm guessing this probably isn't played because if it was, it would be really expensive right now. But it's a cool looking card. And honestly, if you just wanted a cheap ultimate rare, it's not bad. Gates of the Dark World, 238. I know you definitely would be playing this card in the deck at a couple of copies at least. So that's not a bad price. And there's only 24 listings. So if you want this card, I would go ahead and get it. I don't know what's going to be reprinted in the structure deck or if we'll have a structure deck at all. And if they'll just like kind of piece it out into like a Ghost from the Past 3 or something, you know, like they've done with other structure decks. We'll have to see. Honestly, side note though, Ib definitely a good card to get from Dark Neostorm. It is on the ban list, but it could come back, I think, at this point. It's not overly powerful. It is still a good card, but honestly, alone on the artwork is crazy. It looks really good. I would pick it up. Rainbow is 420 going to 460 for lightly played first edition. And Braun, which is the one that I have actually, is 245 for unlimited. I think I have the unlimited of this for sure. Unless I might have given it away to somebody at some point. Back when I was first starting my channel, I would like kind of, or not my channel, my TCG player store. I would like give away random cards with every order, and like 1 out of every 10 or something, I would give away something kind of cool like this. That was cheap, but still kind of cool. Just as a way to get some good feedback. You don't have to do that by any means. Just provide good service. I was just new and didn't know too much about the marketplace, and I just wanted to have that gold star. I think that's mainly everything that's important here. I don't want to spend too much time going through every common and rare. So next is Dynamorphia. And I kind of wanted to talk about this because I know I've talked about it a lot in the past. And if you are a Dynamorphia fan or player, you're not going to want to hear this, and neither do I, but I just don't think this deck is going anywhere. I think you can kind of compare this to Amazements, where it got a lot of hype in the beginning, and yes, it was like a solid engine or archetype, but it just wasn't powerful enough. And I think this is kind of the same story for Dynamorphia. Not to say that it's not a good deck, it's still a good deck, especially if you're playing it with branded. I just haven't seen results for this deck here. It did get some results in the OCG, but it just really hasn't transferred over here. I know a lot of people are fans of this deck, which is sometimes what you need, because you can't like Flunderies. Not a lot of people play Flunderies. Like not many people are fans of it, but it is one of the best decks that we have right now. But a lot of people are fans of Dynamorphia, including me. And these prices, like for the Theresia, were like up to like $30-$35, and now they're back down to 14, which is still higher than the original 8 to 10 or 7 to 10 maybe even that they were before the bio. But I honestly think these might fade over time. I'm not going to be selling mine ever, probably. I just really like them, but I wouldn't expect these to really have another price spike in the near future unless we get some really good support down line. And that's part of the reason I don't want to sell mine is, one, I do kind of still want to play it here and there, but I think that if we got some really good support, this deck could potentially get some hype, or could just be more playable. Like right now, the problem is it's just not that playable. It is playable. I don't know what, I guess the word I'm looking for is it's not that great. You really are only doing one thing with this deck mainly, which is just putting out a skill drain. And you're playing a lot of cards to get to that skill drain. I guess the good thing about this skill drain is you're not affected by it. But you are putting your life points pretty low, which puts you at a weak spot, especially on game 3 if you're going into time. So there's a couple of issues with this deck. I do like it. I think it's a really cool design though, and I think I'll probably hold on to this forever. But we'll look at the prices here. Oh yeah, one more point. We do have, I think this deck could potentially do okay at locals and stuff right now, but the problem is a lot of people aren't picking these up, besides the people that wanted to have this deck initially, because we have Splight and Cheerlements coming. So I just don't think people are expecting this deck to go anywhere, which is not a good sign for price. I think it probably will bleed some more in price over time. Dynamorphia domain, $7. I'm actually surprised that this is still like $7 and not more towards like $4.50 or $5. Just because it's not like the preferred trap to play, the fusion trap. The frenzy is way better. But I guess it is a secret rare, which kind of has that going for it. And I think if you're playing like more of a pure version of Dynamorphia with like a small branded package, you definitely would be playing domain as well as frenzy. Frenzy still around 420. I don't know if it'll drop towards like $3 or anything. I think $4 is kind of fair for this card. I do think people are still testing around with this, and maybe it's seeing more representation at like the locals level. But as far as like tournament results that I've seen, I just haven't seen Dynamorphia. Rexterm at 338 here to 350. I think that's also just kind of where it's going to be sitting for a while. Kintragina around $1. This was a great card to buy when it was 50 cents and then flip when it was $3. And then at this point, it's probably going to just sit around $1 to $2. I will say that maybe we'll see more price spikes at some point, like later this year or next year, because we won't be seeing reprints for these cards until 2023 in the Megatins, most likely, because it's the cutoff for the Megatins was the end of 2021 for the 2022 Megatins. So yeah, so we won't be seeing reprints for these for a while. But other than that, that's pretty much all of the expensive ones that you'd have to really look out for. The super rares are going to be 20 cents forever, pretty much. But that's all I really had to say for that, I guess, is just put that warning out there that if you haven't picked this deck core up yet, you might just want to wait and see what happens, because it's really not going to do anything, I don't think. And if you have it, I wouldn't sell it either, unless you just wanted to reinvest into a deck that you want to be competitive. I don't really care if this deck is competitive. I just really like it for fun. I mean, I do hope that it becomes competitive one day, but it's not gonna make me sell it if it's not competitive, because I just like the artwork at the end of the day. Next is El Shaddo Shekanaga from the new challengers. I think one of the viewers wanted to cover this card. He said he had bought it recently. I'm just gonna cover the first editions for this card, because I don't really think that the unlims there's much difference in price, but the light played first editions are $19 to $20 here, which I think is a pretty fair deal. The near mints here are going to be $24. I mean, for the $5 difference, $4 difference, you're probably better off just to get the near mint and not risk the light play. But I think either one's fine, to be honest with you. I think that this card, in my opinion, it's a good card, but it just doesn't see that much play unless you're playing like pure Shaddols. But with that said, I mean, Shaddols are like, they probably will always see some representation because a lot of people love this deck. I mean, some people, I've known people that just, they only play Shaddols, or they kind of come back to Shaddols like ever since it came out. So I think that this card will probably stay stable. And if it doesn't stay stable, it'll probably move up rather than move down. I just can't see this card really getting much cheaper from here. Maybe slightly at some point if like we hit a recession or something, but I think its cap is probably $50 for a first edition near mint, and that's if this card's see in play. If it does get to $50, it's going to take a long time. So I think it'll probably just stay around this price point for a while. Droll Lockbird. I wanted to talk about this card because it's kind of phased out of the format right now, and not really many people are looking at this card, which is always a good time to get hand traps. But if you remember, like, I think maybe 6 months ago or so, this card was up around like 27 to 30 for the super rare from the OTS tournament pack 1. And it's floated back down now. You can get copies here, light play for 16, which is actually really good. And then near mint for 21. If you sold your drolls back then, like I did, I had common drolls that I sold for like $20 a piece. I'm going to be looking to come pick these back up because I think the super rare is my favorite version, besides the ultimate rare, obviously. But the ultimate rare is like around 220 right now, which is not terrible. But yeah, it's just not seeing play. And I think any version's fine. If you want to get the ultra rare, it's fine. I would probably stay away from the common because I think at some point we will see a reprint of this card, and you just don't want to have the common if that happens. I think when we got the reprint in the first maximum goal, I think the common went down to like $4 to $6. It was pretty cheap. And then the last card I wanted to cover is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. And I'm going to look at like most of the high rarity versions here to see where the price is at, just because this has kind of phased out of the format. No one's really playing, or people are playing Adventure Token, but not as many as when Ghost Ogre was seen play in almost every deck in the main deck. But the ultimate rares, I mean, these aren't going to get affected too bad by phasing out of the format, just because they're hard to get at this point. The 273 here for near mint, and they'll probably be there for a long time, if not going up the next time. I think every time it comes into the format, the ultimate rare just gets more expensive, but it never really falls too much back down after it falls out of the format. People just don't sell them, apparently, which is weird that there's not really that many copies of it, because OTS Tournament Pack 5 was pretty heavily printed. Cross Souls, secret rare. Let's see. I hate all these picture listings because no one gives a damn about Korean prints. I mean, they look good, and I actually have a Korean collector's rare, and it's nice for the collection, but you can't play them. And I think TCG Player needs to have like a separate section for all these foreign cards that you can't play. And a lot of times, like, people will have it sometimes where it just says Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, but it doesn't say Korean or anything. And it's got a picture, and you're just like, okay, near mint, bet. And then you just add it to your cart and buy it. And then when it comes in, you're like, oh, this is Japanese. I can't play this. And you wish that they would have just said that it was Japanese, like in the description. So be really careful if you see a picture. And for example, here, and it just said Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, make sure you click on the picture and verify that it's English or Spanish or whatever you're looking for. Near mint unlimited 60, and then lightly played first edition at 89. This is still pretty expensive, honestly. It hasn't come down too much here. It's actually probably just still going up. Like I said, I bought a lightly played first edition from this seller right here, Dabbers, for $44 before it came into the format, and then ended up selling mine for like 90. And it's still around that 90 price point for light play first edition. Look at the other versions though, because I have noticed that some of the other versions have come down in price recently. So the premium gold here, $4.34. This was going for like 10 or 11 bucks not too long ago. The market price still says 7. Legendary Collection Kaiba, which is actually one of my favorite versions to play, is $3.20. This was going for, around $8 to $10 during the format, and it was, market price still says 7 here. If you want to pick these up, I think 320 is a good place to get them. But I wouldn't buy too many copies right this second. I would maybe make sure you have a few of these around, and then just kind of wait to see if these go lower, because we do have a new reprint version available, which will drag the prices down if this card's not seeing play. So just keep that in mind. But now's the time to start looking to invest in these cards. Dual Power, I assume it's probably around the $3 price point as well. Dual Devastator, $2.20 for light play first edition. That's pretty good as well. And then the maximum gold is $2. Megaton Super Rare around $1.50, going to $1.75. I think this version actually looks really good. So if you just wanted a clean looking version that's cheap to play or just to invest in, go for this version. It's pretty good. And then the commons around $1.20. That's going to be my last card for today. But I did wanted to mention I am going to locals tonight for the first time in a while. I'm going to be playing branded Despia, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be playing the full powered deck because I ordered like the branded openings and everything that I would need for it to be full powered, but they're not coming in till tomorrow. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to play tonight without branded opening. Actually, I am gonna play with one because they have one available at the local. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buy one. And then just sell it when I get my other playset in, which is fine. But so I'll be playing with one branded opening and one Guardian Chimera. I do have another Guardian Chimera coming in as well. Like I said on Saturday. So it's gonna be interesting to see how I do. I'm suspecting that I'll probably do okay, but probably not like top the event. I guess we'll have to see what other people are playing. I haven't been to locals if you didn't know, or I think I've mentioned this in a long time. Like I think the last time I went to the locals was probably a couple of months ago. So I'm excited to get back, and I want to start going again like every week. Because the thing is, I feel like when I go like once every 2 months, I need to like bring like my A game, like top deck. But if you're going every week, it's fun to like mix it up, like bring Zectors or bring Dynamorphia or whatever. But let me know what decks you guys are playing right now if you're going to locals, and let me know what decks you're looking forward to playing in the future. But thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. We'll be doing more videos. I do have a 3-day weekend, so I'll probably try to do a really cool market watch at some point this weekend, or at least do something. I've been not posting too many videos on the weekends the last couple of weeks because I've been pretty busy, so I'm excited to have a little bit more time to spend filming. But thanks for watching, guys. I will see you later. Bye.